good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining me from. How are we all doing? This is Growth Habits with Ngozi. I am your personal guide on the journey of growth. So, how is everyone doing? I trust we're all good. Just going to go round to make sure we are live. Everywhere was supposed to be live. So I can see that we are live on Facebook. Please do let me know if you can hear me as you join. Let me know if I am audible and if it is loud enough. Okay, so yes, we are live on Facebook. We are live on Instagram. Let me confirm that we are live on LinkedIn. Okay. Okay, we are live on LinkedIn and we are live on YouTube. Okay. All right, so do let me know where you're joining me from. Okay, we are live on YouTube. Do let me know where you're joining me from. Let me know how it is where you are. Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Is it evening? Which one is it where you are? Um, this is Growth Habits with Ngozi. And as I said, and as I always say, I am your personal guide on the journey of growth. And I will remain your guide on this journey of growth because we are growing together. Yes, I don't just tell you how to grow. I don't just lead you on the journey of growth. I actually grow along with you. Yes, I try my best to practice what I preach. As I say, I try my best, is what I'm saying. I'm not perfect at it yet. That's why we are growing together. That's why we're on this journey together. So I'm not perfect at it yet, but I'm working on it, working at getting there. So we are growing together. Let me know where you're joining me from once again. And I want to take this time also to appreciate everyone that also watches the replay. I know the timing makes it that some people are not able to join live, but they do watch the replay. So thank you so much for um, always, always catching the replay. I'm always amazed at the numbers I see sometimes. I check um, how it is and I see some numbers sometimes. I'm like, wow, really? So thank you so much for always catching the replay. Um, Once again, do let me know if you're here. Let me know where you're joining me. This is session 120. We are getting very soon. We're going to reach 1,500 sessions. Let me start from 500 before I start jumping to 1,000. So this is session 120, and we started this series on influence, habits of influence, this month of August. By the month of September, we will move to something else. So we're looking at habits of influence in this month of August. And we started with leading yourself first. We said that influence starts from within. This is me doing the recap of what we have covered so far in looking at habits of influence. So we said that influence, it actually starts with you leading yourself. It starts with you being able to lead yourself. We established that personal discipline, growth, intentional living, they are all the foundations of true influence. If you are able to live a disciplined life, if you're able to ensure that you yourself are growing, if you're able to be intentional in your own life, then you can more easily influence others. You can more easily lead others. So, as we know, this really goes without saying, you cannot pour from an empty cup. If a cup is empty, it is almost impossible. In fact, it's impossible, not even almost, to pour from that cup because there's nothing, no content. So it's essential that you lead yourself first, then you can begin to lead others, you can begin to influence others. So self leadership is the starting point of influence, is the starting point of influence. The next session, we talked about showing up with integrity. Character is influence, and we had a guest, Coach Iho, that day, and he spoke a lot, and he mentioned that integrity is the currency of trust. If people cannot, if you're not a person of integrity, if you're not a person of integrity, then how will you influence people? Really, how will you influence people if they don't see you as a person of integrity, as a person they can trust? How do you now influence them? So, um, yes, he talked about because truly, no matter how gifted you are, no matter how gifted you are, your influence cannot really last if you don't have integrity. If people can't trust you, if people can't trust your words, if people can't trust what you say. That day he gave us a lot of examples from his personal life, from how he has worked, where he has worked, and all that. Integrity is key. It is so important. It is so important. Not just that you're a person of integrity, but that people can see it. Because sometimes, we're like, but I'm a person of integrity, but people can't testify to it. Then that integrity is not really it. People have to see you as a person of integrity, which means that in your dealings with people, integrity is evident. Is evident. So that was session 118. Show up with integrity. Because your character is influence. There are people we influence with our character and we have never had any maybe direct encounter. We've never really spoken to them about some things. But because your integrity is speaking for you, goes ahead of you, they know you from that. And they're able to trust you without meeting you, as in directly. So that is why your integrity has to be seen by others. It can't just be in your head, for example. It can't. So show up with integrity. That is a way to build influence. Ensure that you're a person of your word. And there's one area that I've noticed that we don't think this is a matter of integrity. I think that's why we take it lightly, and it's timeliness. Timeliness. If you tell someone, I will meet you by 2 p.m., and by 2 p.m. you're still on your way, you're already telling this person that you're not a person to be trusted. I believe we don't see it that way. I believe so generally, because I have dealt with people and they really don't bother about timing. They can't be bothered to come early for appointments. They cannot be bothered to come early for anything. You understand? They cannot be bothered. They just don't. So for me, um, I think this is one thing that, let's say, we miss because we don't see it as a matter of integrity. That is why we miss it. So timeliness is part of that character of integrity that we need to build in order to be able to influence. Then session 119 was speak to inspire, words that build others. And we had Coach Ife last week. She came on and she talked to us about words that build. The power of words, because they shape our beliefs. The words shape our behaviors. They shape whether we belong somewhere or not, really, what we say. And our influence is magnified really by our words. Um, and our words do give us, courage, do give us direction. She gave us a couple of, she said some of the, um, okay, that your words should inspire. And she gave us the word inspire. That is, your words should be intentional. They should speak intentionally. Your words should nurture. Your words should be sincere. Your words should be powerful. Your words should be impactful. Your words should be relevant and encouraging. Then she gave us some hindrances to words that inspire, and that is self doubt, toxicity, over speaking, and pride. And she concluded with saying to inspire with words, we need to speak. That's SPEAK. S. See the person you are talking to, as in truly see them, try to understand them. P. Prepare yourself before you speak. E. Empathize with the person that you're speaking to. A. Add value to the person. And then K. Keep it simple and strong. So that was the session Speak to Inspire last week. And today we are talking about multiplying your impact. Multiplying your impact. And that is by mentoring, guiding, and empowering. That is what we are speaking about today. And when we talk about influence, we know that we're influencing someone else. And yes, it starts with you working on yourself, building yourself, growing yourself. But then it has to now grow so that you're able to multiply yourself in others. If you are able to multiply yourself in others, then you have really truly achieved influence. Because this is the hard part. Well, it's one of the hard parts, because I think every aspect of this building influence is hard. Working on yourself is hard. Speaking to inspire is hard. Building character is hard. None of them are really easy. They're all hard. But when you get to this point where you're able to multiply yourself in others, then you know that you have done well. Let me use that expression. You will know that you have achieved something, because success is not easy to reproduce. It's not. Values, vision, they're not easy to reproduce in others. They are not. That's why you see some visionaries, some business owners, CEOs, whatever we want to call them, people that carry a passion. They are not able to transfer it to anyone else. They're not able to, pass it. They're not able to multiply that passion that is in them to anyone else. It dies with them. It ends with them. Let me not say die or say it now, but it ends with them. So for us to be people of influence, okay, I can see several people on Facebook. Mrs. Regina Obiago, thank you for joining me. Good day to you. Ebele Ediokafo, thank you. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Doshima Ada, thank you for joining me. Kelechi, thank you for joining me. I see all of you on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me. I can see Kochifi on Instagram. Kochifi, thank you for joining me this afternoon. So I was saying that um, to reproduce success, to reproduce values, vision is a difficult thing in others. It's so difficult. But if you are able to do that, is when you can truly say you are successful as a leader or as an influencer, whatever we want to, call ourselves at that point. But it's really is not as I will, the example I was giving is, you see someone that has a vision, whether it's a CEO, a business owner, whatever, and they're not able to replicate that vision in those that are supposed to be following them. And that is why you see businesses that if the owner is not there, things don't work because the vision has not been transferred to the workers. They don't know. Your passion was not translated. So for us to truly lead, we have to be able to multiply or replicate our passion, replicate our vision, replicate our character in those that follow. Um, you know, I think I gave this example recently. I can't remember which topic we were talking about, but I had one of my mentees on my birthday send me a message about how, because I don't, when I mentor people, I don't tell you what to do. I don't ever tell you what to do. I lead you into making those decisions yourself. I lead you into walking through the path yourself and then arriving at, most times you arrive at what I feel is the right thing to do. That is even the funny thing about it. Most times, by the time the person walks through it, the decision they arrive at is what I feel is the right thing. But don't start off by telling you, this is the right way to go. I start by asking you some deep questions. So when she said that, on my birthday, she sent me that message that, it has helped her even like in the office. She thinks through actions. She thinks through whatever is happening. When things happen around her, she takes them and thinks them through. I was so happy because it shows that I have replicated myself in her. Because even me myself, to take decisions, I don't just take decisions because this is how I'm feeling. Feelings are fleeting. Feelings are fleeting. One minute they're here, tomorrow they're something else. So I try my best not to take decisions by feelings. I walk through it. I ask myself those same questions that I would ask you as my mentee. I ask myself those questions when I'm about to take any decision. So um, for us to really have a lasting legacy, lasting impact on anyone, we have to be able to replicate those successes, those values, that vision that we have in those people. And this, like I said, this goes for the person that is running her small business from her home and has just one employee. The employee has to understand what this business is all about. They have to understand your why. You have to be able to put into their hearts the same fire, at least. You might not be able to replicate 100%. It's almost impossible to replicate 100%, but to a large extent, you have to be able to replicate that fire. Onwuchiloba. Okay, Valentine, thank you for joining me. I can see you on Instagram. Thank you so much. You have to be able to replicate that passion you have, that vision you have for your business. You have to replicate it in those that are working for you. That's the way that's the only way that you get workers that are committed to your business. That's the only way. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. How you can at least make the attempt to replicate your vision, your values, your successes in those that are following you, whether they are following for whatever reasons, but that is the way to, those are the things we are going to talk about. Um, we know that, okay, well, I saw that in the Bible, we know that in the Bible tells us in Matthew to go and make disciples of all nations. That is an example of multiplying impact because Jesus has handed over something to these disciples and he expects them to go forth and replicate that which he has deposited in them to others. So we call it the Great Commission, but really is the ultimate example of multiplying impact. Because I don't even know, the words are failing me somehow now because I'm trying not to preach, I'm trying not to preach right now because, once you begin to mention Bible, the tendency is to begin to preach. But, even I think it's also in Timothy, the Bible also tells us that the things you have heard me say, entrust to reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others. I think yes, it's in Timothy where it says that. So you see that even even if you're not a Christian, these are truths. These are truths. And if you can just imbibe these truths, then you'll be able to replicate, you'll be able to multiply your impact. So let me give us some quick definitions. Let me not preach. Let me give us some quick definitions. What is mentorship? Because we're talking about mentor, guide, empower in this session. So mentorship is a process, a relational process where someone who has more experience, who has more experience. Let me leave it at experience. Someone that has more experience supports, equips, and develops another person for growth. That's to help that one to grow. That is mentorship. And like I always say, mentorship is not like coaching. Mentorship is not just to show people this is how this thing is done. Mentorship means you actually walk along with them, really. You follow up with them. You're in the process, basically, because there's a relationship in mentorship. So it's not just, oh, this is how this is done. I always give this example when I try to define mentorship. Like in football or any sport, the coach teaches the players, shows them the best way to do these things, whether it's football, gymnastics, whatever it is. The coach teaches them the best way to do it, but the coach never plays. There is no coach that plays. That 45 minutes on the field, the coach doesn't come in there. He never kicks a ball, but he's on the sideline telling you how to kick that ball effectively, showing you how to do it properly. So that is a coach. But a mentor will not sit on the sidelines. A mentor will come into that match, possibly, and show you how to kick that ball. So to me, that is the difference between a coach and a mentor. A mentor. So that is my definition of mentorship. The next thing is guidance, because remember, it's mentor, guide, empower. That is how we are looking at this multiplying impact. So you mentor, you guide, and you empower people. That is how you multiply impact. Guidance is providing wisdom, providing direction, and providing clarity in navigating decisions and challenges. So you as the guide, you're providing this wisdom, you're providing this direction, you're providing this clarity to the person that's trying to navigate decisions and challenges. And then to empower is to give others the tools they need, to give them the confidence they need, to give them the permission, really, to be able to rise, to be able to thrive. That's how you empower people. So, okay, just doing a quick check. All right, so that is what mentorship, guidance, and empowerment is all about. That's my definitions of these three things. And then, because we're talking about multiplying impact, the multiplication effect is when leadership extends beyond addition. You're not just, this is what I've done. It extends into multiplication, and this is like, let's do this together. That is the way I see it. That's the multiplication impact. To be able to multiply impact, you don't just add to the person. This is what I did, so add it to yourself, add it to your routine, add it. No, you actually come alongside the person, and then we achieve it together. That is my definition of multiplying impact. So, having said all this, um, there's, of course, there's always some research somewhere or the other. There is always some research. If we look, we'll find that there's some research that says that being able to mentor people helps. Being able to mentor people improves their ability to rise in their offices or what have you, improves their retention and all that. But let me just go straight and look at why multiplication matters, why it's important that we multiply our impact, that we don't just leave it at, addition. Number one is that it enables sustainability. When you um, when you mentor, when you guide, when you empower people, your impact, your own impact, now outlives you because it's now deposited in someone else. Your influence outlives you because it's deposited in someone else. And if that mentorship is done well, that person will mentor someone else because what they have received, you don't receive impact for yourself only. You actually have to also give it out. So sustainability is one of the reasons why multiplication is important, so that your impact, your influence outlives you and continues on. Another thing is because of scalability. I by myself cannot reach everyone. The number of persons I can reach is limited. But when I empower someone else, then that person can reach out. Let's assume I can only reach 5 persons, for example. And I've reached out, I've impacted these 5 persons, I've empowered these 5 persons. If just 2 of them replicate what I've done, you can see that my impact has extended to 10 more people. Me directly on 5, then 2 of my 5 go out and impact another 5. That's an additional 10 persons impacted by maybe a word I said, maybe an action that I carried out, something that I thought, or something that I did. So, scalability. Then legacy, which is to me, we're all looking for legacy. We're all looking to leave something behind. So, multiplication matters because success that doesn't have succession definitely dies. It ends. It ends. Now um, I see a lot of, I see this mostly in the business world. You have a CEO, an MD, and a founder, an owner, and as long as that person is not there, the business does not continue. There is no continuity, there is no legacy. So no matter the huge success you make of that business, without succession, it ends. It ends. So multiplying yourself ensures that there is continuity. Even if the continuity is not okay, like going back to the business example, even if the continuity is not exactly in maybe your business name, it better if it is, but even if it is not, and someone that you mentored, someone that you impacted, goes on to maybe start their own business also and models it after what you taught them, your legacy is actually growing. This is something I think we also need to understand, because sometimes we feel unless, for example, my company, Ngozi, first, let me just use growth habits now. Let's assume I impact two persons through growth habits, and they go on to start their own maybe mentorship or um, coaching, whatever. They go on to start their own things, and they don't call it growth habits with Ngozi. Of course, they will not, because the seed was sown through my impact. My I'm still impacting. I'm still, my impact is growing. My legacy is continuing. So it must not continue in my name per se. That's what I'm trying to pass across. But the impact is still growing. The legacy is still growing. I gave us the example of the young lady that reached out to me on my birthday. Now, anywhere she goes, I am sure she will teach those that she's working with in the same way. She will teach anyone that comes into contact with her to process issues and not just, take emotional decisions at the point it's happening. I am very sure she will. And indirectly, my legacy is growing because I led her in that path. I hope I'm making sense. I hope we're catching what I'm saying. Please do let me know if I'm making any sense or I'm just talking OP. Do let me know in the comments so that I know that I'm not all by myself. Yes. Okay. Thank you. I can see a favor Joshua on Facebook. Thank you for joining me. Yes. Multiply and replicate impact. Ebele. Very, very important. Kelechi says success that doesn't have succession, it dies. Yes. So that you made a huge success of whatever it is you're doing and it doesn't continue. What's the need, really? So, yeah. Okay, nothing on Instagram yet. All right, so this is let me just give us some few examples of people who have created a legacy from impact. And one that I'm sure we all know is John Maxwell. If you see someone that went through John Maxwell's academy or went through his program, you will know. That's if you have encountered John Maxwell yourself. Let me not even just say you will know. If you have encountered John Maxwell yourself and you then meet someone that has gone through his training, you will know. You will know because his impact in their lives is visible. You will see his legacy in the things they do. You will see his legacy and you will see his hand. In fact, you will see his impact. You will see his imprint in their lives. So I think that is one of the yeah, this is a contemporary example that I can give. I'm just quickly trying to think if I can think of any other person, but right now he's the name that comes to my mind. So yes, and I know that one of his books, I think it's called The Law of Multiplication. I think that's the name of that book. He said that great leaders don't just develop followers. Great leaders don't just develop followers, they develop leaders. So check, you that is leading 2 people, 3 people. Are you developing leaders or you're just developing followers? In your family, in your home, did you raise leaders as a parent or did you raise followers? So very important. Yeah, I like that. When I saw that quote from John Maxwell's book, I had to write it down because that is the whole essence of this talk today. That is the whole essence. Great leaders don't just develop followers. They develop followers, so, but they don't just do that. They go beyond and they develop leaders. So, all right. Um, we can also see this. I know that in some places, I don't know whether in our own climb, this really is a good example, but I've seen situations where you see, like some of these stars, some of these celebrities, you see them in interviews and they speak of how something one teacher told them in primary school, is why they are where they are today. And every time I hear that, honestly, I am so, it touches me especially because a simple act that probably the teacher didn't even think twice about is what has led this person to be a success. So that is impact. That is this multiplication we are talking about. That is this replicating your, will I say, your vision, your values in someone else. So this is like everyday example. So when I hear that someone is a teacher, honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind are those stories. And when I now see a teacher that's not impacting, that's not developing leaders amongst her pupils, I feel bad. I feel bad, but that is how it's supposed to be. And even as parents, as I said in my examples, our duty as parents is to empower our children to lead with values and not just, to give them instructions on what to do. No, that's not just what it's about. So how do we do this mentoring, guiding, and empowering? For you to mentor, one, you have to be available and you have to be intentional. You have to be available and you have to be intentional because mentorship does not happen by accident. It doesn't. You have to commit time to it and you have to commit yourself to mentoring. Um, so be available and be intentional, number one. It doesn't happen by accident. I just have to say that again. It does not. You can't mentor people by accident. It doesn't happen. You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. Then to mentor, you also have to be vulnerable enough to share your story. You have to be vulnerable enough to share your story. And you don't share just your successes. You share everything, your wins, your mistakes. Um, so to truly mentor people, you have to be vulnerable enough to share your successes and your failings, your mistakes. Very essential in mentoring. Then um, you also have to have goals. You have to set clear goals. You have to ask yourself, where do you want to grow? Um, I also have to ask the person you're trying to mentor specifically, where do they want to grow? What is their target? So, um, so that you can actually work with them towards that goal. That's the essence. I don't know whether it's the hair that's getting into my eyes, but my eyes are okay. So we have to set clear goals in mentorship because you need to know where the person wants to get to so that you can go there with them, so you can walk with them towards that goal. You can't just let's just be going. It doesn't work in mentorship. It doesn't work. Then you have to model what you're trying to teach, what you're trying to impart to them. You can't just tell, you have to model it. So people generally remember what they see you do more than what you say to them. So to mentor people, remember you have to be available, you have to be intentional, you share your story, be vulnerable, set clear goals of where this mentorship is meant to go, and then model. Model, don't just tell. Model this journey that you want to take them on. Let them see that you're going on that journey also. You have to model it. So don't tell them what you're not doing in mentorship. Just like the example of the football match. You get in there and you play the match with them. Okay, so to guide, we have talked about to mentor. To guide, to be able to guide people, you have to listen, really. I think the starting point of guiding anyone in anything is to listen. Pay attention to what the person is saying. Understand the person's challenges. Understand what the person is going through. Understand what the person is saying. Don't assume. Don't assume that you do. Truly understand it. Ask questions. Pay close attention. This is very essential for you to guide anyone, anywhere, or in anything. Understand them first. Listen, truly listen to what they are saying to you. Then ask questions. Ask questions. Don't give all the answers. You might have all the answers. You might not either, but ask questions. Allow them to think. Ask them questions that make them think. Let them come up with those solutions by thinking it through. This is a way to guide people. Ask the questions. Let them come up with the solutions themselves. See, one thing that I've found is that if you tell me what to do and I do it and it works, good. Yeah, I did it, it worked. But most times I might not be fully committed to it because, I mean, it's what you told me. And then if for any reason it doesn't work, I have a fallback. It's what you told me. It's what you told me. So I don't even have to really commit too much because I'm only following your instructions. But when you give me the opportunity to think it through, and then as I think it through, I make my decisions and take the actions that I'm taking, they are my decisions. They're my actions. I can take responsibility for them. Whether they work, they don't work, I can actually take responsibility because this was my thought process. So that's why it's good to ask questions and allow people to think things through. Don't just give answers. This is how you guide. Then give people perspective through your experience. Um, let your experience shine a light on options. Don't let it be this is the solution. No. Don't let your experience be the solution you're handing out, but let it shine a light on options that they might, maybe they didn't see this option. So let your experience provide that perspective, but let it just be a way to shine a light on options. Let it not be a, this is the answer, because it might not be. It might not be. This is how you guide. This is how you mentor. This is how you multiply impact in people. Then give feedback with grace. Try to balance encouragement with constructive correction. Don't keep quiet when you see them maybe going the wrong direction. No. Give feedback. Always give feedback, but ensure that the feedback is given with grace. Ensure that the feedback is not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not too harsh. Um, ensure that that feedback is something that helps the person. If I'm being clear, ensure that that feedback helps the person, and it's not just that you're bringing them down with your feedback. No. So that is how to guide. So we've looked at how to mentor. Um, Be available, be intentional, share your story, be vulnerable, set clear goals, and model. Don't just tell. Then, how to guide: listen first, ask questions, provide perspective, and give feedback with grace. Now, how do you empower people? You have mentored, you have guided them. How do you now empower them to move forward? Equip them with the resources that they need. You have books, share the books. You have contacts, share. You have tools that has helped you, share. You see opportunities that will help them succeed, share. Equip them with all the resources that they need. Don't just um, show them the way, as you know, in your mentorship, helping them to grow, set up their targets, guide them through those targets without giving them what they need, the resources they need. So any resources that is in your, back, you have access to, share, share, share. Then build their confidence. Remind people of their potential. Don't always remind them of their failings. Don't always remind them of their limitations. Remind people of their potentials. Sometimes you know, just telling someone you can do this is actually a big encouragement. I don't know if we realize how much of an encouragement those, you see, 4 words, yeah, 4 words can be. And sometimes that's all the person actually needs to know. They just need to know that someone trusts in their ability, someone believes in their abilities, someone believes in their potentials, to build confidence in the person you're trying to empower and release responsibility to them. Give them real tasks to do, real projects, real leadership opportunities. Trust them to act. Trust that person that you're trying to multiply impact to. Trust them to act. This also, we know we can apply this personal life, business, everywhere. Trust them to act. I see, like in especially small businesses, you have employees, but you don't really trust them to do some things. Even when you give them some responsibility, you're hovering. Release responsibility. Let them fail. Let them make that mistake, really. Let them make that mistake. It might cost you something because, there is no mistake, even no matter how small a mistake is, it still costs something. But trust, trust them to act. Trust them to act. And then celebrate their progress. No matter how small the progress is, celebrate it. So this is just my quick take on how to mentor, how to guide, and how to empower. Um, just to say a few things before I give us some action points. See, if you're growing and that growth ends with you, that growth is limited. It really is limited. Growth that is shared, when you share growth, when you yeah, share. That's the word. I was trying to think whether to change the word share. When you share growth, when you share growth, that is when truly you see transformation in the lives of people. Those lessons that you have learned, when you pass them across to someone else, when you pass them on to someone else, that is when real growth happens. That is when real growth happens. So, when you learn a lesson, when you learn a skill, when you build something, when you experience some breakthrough or something, it's not just for you. Have the mindset that it's not just for you, it's also for you to use and equip others. It's also for you to use and equip others. If our mindset continually is, who else? Who else can learn from this? Who else can benefit from this thing that I have known, this thing that I have learned? Your impact will be far farther. Yes, your impact will go farther. I know it's not sometimes when because of how people take mm, because how people take your sharing your lessons, sharing your skills, sometimes we might feel, look, it's not worth it, but still go ahead. Recently, I had some experiences with trying to share some skills with some group of youths that didn't quite take up the skill being shared. Let me use those words. And it kind of made me want to stop sharing what I know, sharing any information that I get that might be of benefit to someone. But I came to, but I found that even though I was coming to that decision not to share, when I gain any new insight, when I learn any new skill, the tendency is for me to still look for who to share it with. So I had to just tell myself, keep sharing, even if it doesn't look like it's impacting anyone. It's actually impacting someone. In a group of 10, even if it's just two people, even if it's just two people, keep sharing. So always think of who else will benefit from something you're learning. I strongly believe that you don't lose by sharing information, by sharing knowledge. You don't lose the one you know because you shared it. You actually grow it when you share it. For, for example, when I do this growth habits, when I do these discussions, some of the topics I don't really know much about them until I go and read up, until I go and study. And then by the time I come up and begin to talk, as I am talking, I am learning. As I'm sharing with you, I'm gaining some insight. Even the ones that I know very, very well, and I come here and I talk about them, the more I talk, as I go on in the discussion, I realize I'm learning something else myself. I realize that I am also being equipped. I realize I'm also benefiting. So you don't lose when you share knowledge. Because I think sometimes that's the fear some of us may have, that if I share knowledge, I've lost something. You lost nothing. You've actually gained. So share, share, share. And then let me also say this, because when we are talking about growing impact, multiplying impact, it's not about replicating yourself or you're not cloning yourself in people. No, you're not trying to produce another Ngozi Onwuchiloba. It's never the aim, but it's to deposit some of my strengths into someone else. I might not be able to deposit all for sure, but at least let me be able to deposit some. It's not about recreating me. No, this is another thing that I think we need to kind of get a grasp on. We're not trying to replicate ourselves in these people we are trying to impact in your personal life, business, work, wherever it is you're trying to impact people. The aim is not to replicate yourself. The aim is to deposit your strengths into that person. This now adds to the strength the person already has and makes that person a better version of themselves. So the aim of impact is not cloning, it's not replication per se. It's to improve on that person, to make that person a better version of themselves. So if you're someone that is disciplined, teach someone how you did it. Impact that to someone. Share your routines or your ability to build routines, whatever it is that helped you be disciplined. Share that with someone. Deposit that strength in someone else. If you're someone that is resourceful, for example, show someone else how you solve problems. Share that with someone. So, in doing this, you expand exponentially. This is why it's called multiplication, not addition. You multiply your influence because you're depositing your strengths into someone else. And then the person already has some strengths, right? You deposit these ones you also have into them, expanding their strength profile. So you have improved, now have an, I don't know, I don't know what name to use. I don't want to use anybody's real name, but you have a mentee 2.0. You met them as mentee 1.0. By depositing your strengths into them, you turn them to mentee 2.0. And as the mentorship goes on, you turn them to 3.0, 3.5, like that. So multiply your strength in others. Multiply your strength in others. So um, let me also say this here. Your greatest achievement in life, your greatest achievement is not one project that you completed, it's not a title that you gained, it's not even the wealth that you have. Your greatest achievement, this is my belief, your greatest achievement in life are the people that you have mentored, the people that you have guided, the people that you have empowered. That is, to me, the greatest achievement anyone can have. So ensure that you are mentoring, guiding, empowering someone or some people at all times. At all times. Because that is what will outlive you. Because yeah, we might build empires and they might outlive us, but they won't outlive us if we don't impact the people in those empires. We might have all the wealth, all the money in the world, but if we go, the money is gone. Probably. Unless we applied that money to improve someone, to empower someone. If we don't do that, when we leave this world, everything goes, everything disappears like a puff of smoke. So, our greatest achievement, really, I believe, is who we have mentored, who we have guided, who we have empowered. This is my true belief. So, going forward, look for people around you with teachable hearts, aligned values, people with potential. They exist around you. Look for them, identify them. Because, I mean, it doesn't have to be everyone. You can't mentor everyone. But look for those people. Look for them, identify them, then begin to share with them. Share your successes, share your failures, share as much as you can. Because people learn from your scars. They also learn from the stars that you have um, achieved or you have gained. So be vulnerable with these people that you are choosing to mentor. Let me put a caveat there because I think it's essential that I do put that caveat. In being vulnerable with people, in being vulnerable with the people you are mentoring, the people you are leading, the people you are trying to impact, you also have to be, what's the word I want to use? Is it sensible? There are some things you don't share with everybody. You have to know what to share and what not to share. Even in sharing your failures, I can tell you a story of something that happened in my life that was either a success or a failure without giving you all the details of it. That's what I mean. So, in sharing your successes and failures, You have to also, know your audience, know who you're sharing it with, of course. I just felt I needed to put this caveat here because, yes, we need to be transparent. We need to be vulnerable to truly impact people. But you also need to know what you're sharing and what you're not sharing. All right, then empower people intentionally. Look for opportunities. Don't just advise people. Don't just advise people. Look for how to empower them. Lead them in the process. Don't just tell them what to do. Lead them in the process. Help them think through the process. Help them think through um, that process. And as you empower people, it's key that you realize that you also have to trust that they are learning or they have learned. You have to trust that they can do some things, and you just give them that freedom to do, freedom to make their mistakes, freedom to do what they need to do. So, for this week, look for someone. Identify just one person. You don't need to have minions. One person that you can empower, one person you can guide, one person you can lead, one person you can mentor. And then give that one person an opportunity that you yourself wished someone had given you. Either when you were their age or when you were in their situation, whatever it may be, but an opportunity you wished someone gave you, give it to someone. Maybe there was a time you were struggling with one thing or the other, and you wished that someone said this to you. Or give that to someone. Empower someone today. Be a guide to someone today. Be a mentor to someone today. So share with me in the comments, who will you mentor today? Who will you who will you choose to pour into? I'm always available. Questions, do ask me. Jump into my DM, ask me any questions. Um, if you have questions to ask, I'm always available. Um, and you want to refer someone to me also to mentor, I'm also available. Remember that my mentorship program is always on. It's on throughout the whole year. Depending on you want 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, is available throughout the whole year. You can go to my seller account and sign up for mentorship. My books are also there on seller on Amazon. Um, do not forget to patronize me in those areas. Then please follow us on all our social media handles: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're everywhere. Growth Habits with Ngozi. We're everywhere. And follow me on my personal page also. And remember to make today count. Be valuable, and in all things ensure that you are growing. Don't let a day go by that you're not experiencing some kind of growth. Don't let any day go by. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me this afternoon on Growth Habits. We talked about um, multiplying your impact through mentoring, guiding, empowering. That's what we talked about. And I think I said this, that our success is not measured by what we achieve. It's not. It's measured by who we empower and what we empower others to achieve. That is how our success is measured. Like I said, this is my own thought. This is my own thought. And so thank you once again for joining me. Okay, I'm seeing some messages. Mrs. Regina Obiago says, in the olden days, good and model mothers impact their qualities by taking young girls who are about to get married into their houses and prepare them for marriage. Yes, this usually makes a better version of themselves when they finally move into their husbands' houses. You see, we had these things, but somehow we are letting a lot of it go. So you see that someone in the olden days, as she said, you see a young lady that's about to get married, you take them in and you prepare them, you teach them what you know, you take your strengths and you impart your strengths to them, you add it to their own already, making them a better version of themselves. So thank you so much for sharing that, ma. I really appreciate that. I'm sure there are other, if we think, there are other things that we do already that models this multiplication of impact. I'm sure there are others. And once again, if you have any questions, you want clarification, please. I am always available to attend to our questions and to attend to our comments. Once again, thank you for joining me. I appreciate your time. Even those watching the replay, thank you so much for staying with me this 1 hour. I know you could have done any other thing with your time, but you chose to come and spend it with me right here on Growth Habits with Ngozi. Thank you. I appreciate you, and do have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you so much, and bye.